It could be that 40 years from now, um, the grandchildren of today's adults and the great grandchildren will be vaccinated against this virus still, or possibly vaccinated with a general coronavirus vaccine that will cover this virus and some other coronaviruses. I suspect that that will happen. I suspect that 40 years from now, people will be vaccinated against this vaccine. And in areas where people are not vaccinated against this virus, there will be probably outbreaks still of COVID-19. And those outbreaks will spread quickly among people who aren't vaccinated. And most people will recover and some people will die 40 years from now. That's what I expect. But we have some things to be grateful for. We have some things to celebrate. And that is mainly the scientific developments that have been coming and that have come even more rapidly during this pandemic. I mentioned the development of vaccines, in particular, a whole new group of vaccines, the mRNA, the messenger RNA vaccines. These are extremely promising. The other thing that has developed very quickly during this pandemic is something called molecular epidemiology. And what I mean by that is the use of genome sequencing tools and skills to sequence samples of this virus from as many people as possible so that we can see the genomes of the virus in individuals. And in seeing that, we are able to identify variants as soon as they emerge and able to see how quickly those variants are spreading, how dangerously transmissible those variants may be, where the variants are, where they have not yet arrived. And that gives us some ability to deal with the spread of new variants, molecular epidemiology. We have other tools that allow us to predict which viruses are poised for spillover into humans living in wild animals, but poised for spillover, and to detect spillovers, little outbreaks of new viruses very quickly after they have occurred, and respond to those in order to contain them before outbreaks become epidemics and before epidemics become pandemics. We can do that. We have the scientific tools. All we need is the political will. And in order to have the political will, we need better leadership. And in order to have better leadership, we need better voters. And in order to have better voters, we need children educated in critical thinking and in science, as well as in the arts, in the important human arts, music, literature, history, etc. We also need them educated in science and in critical thinking so that they can weigh arguments about important questions such as what are the likely origins of this new virus, or who is the leader best equipped to address the seriousness of this situation in ways that may be expensive but are responsive to these desperate situations. We can do that. We're an amazing species. I am not always happy with the 8 billion humans that live on this planet. And then I remind myself that we are capable of ballet and Beethoven and Shakespeare and classical Japanese literature and calligraphy and music of all sorts and grandmaster chess and baseball. We're capable of all these things. And so we ought to be capable of dealing with viruses too. Viruses are adaptable. Viruses are stubborn. Viruses are determined. We are too, but we're also smart. And therefore, I think we can be very hopeful about the future.